is because Anastasius goes back to the word, Anastasius is what? Anastasia, which Anastasia was a popular Greek name amongst females in ancient Greece, as opposed to the male equivalent of Anastasius or Anastasios. So when he said he seems to be a set forth of strange gods, remember Paul spake Greek. So when he said resurrection, he said Yahweh Shai and Anastasia. He's saying, who's Yahweh Shai and who's Anastasia? Is that another god too? That's what they thought he was talking about. Or who's Yahweh Shai, who's Anastasios? Who's this that you're talking about? But he wasn't really talking about a person named Anastasia or Anastasios or Anastasius. He was referring to the resurrection because Anastasia, we go to the next tab, the Wikipedia tab, because Anastasia means resurrection. But before you read that, can you read the book of Acts 21 and 37?
Okay, 37. It's Acts chapter 21 and 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
Right, because the Apostle Paul spake Greek. So when he spake unto them Yahweh Shai in the resurrection, which these Epicureans and Stoics, they was Israelites, right? Just to put that out there too. Almost forgot to say that. So when he spake unto them Yahweh Shai in the resurrection, he was speaking unto them Yahweh Shai and Anastasia, meaning he was saying resurrection, but in the Greek, the word for resurrection is Anastasia, which was a popular name amongst females in ancient Greece, just as the male equivalent Anastasios or Anastasius also meant resurrection, and they were popular names amongst men in ancient Greece. So when he said he seemed to be a set forth of strange gods, they're saying, well, he's speaking about this person Yahweh Shai, and he's talking about Anastasia. Who's that? He wasn't talking about another person. He was talking about the resurrection. But resurrection is the meaning of the Greek word Anastasia. So in other words, he said, I'm going to tell you about Yahweh Shai and Anastasia. Not Yahweh Shai and Anastasia is another person, but Yahweh Shai and Anastasia as in Yahweh Shai and the resurrection, how the Lord rose. That's what he was telling them about. All right? About Yahweh Shai and the resurrection. But he said Anastasia, which was a popular name amongst females in ancient Greece, just as Anastasios or Anastasius was a popular name amongst males in ancient Greece. So he said the popular male name or female name at that time during the ancient Greece. All right? That's why he said he seemed to be a set forth of strange gods. He was only talking about one God that was strange to them, which was Yahweh Shai. It was strange to them because they didn't know about him. Go ahead.
Okay.
Verse 19.
Verse 19. And they took him and brought him unto...
Get Ezra 1 and 8 too, when you get the chance.
All right.
You get that now. You get it now. Don't read it yet. Just hold it.
Okay.
Hold that on deck.
Ezra 1 and 8.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
All right. It says... Oh, maybe my slack it. It says...
You have to cut this show short. It's kind of long.
Keep him on the battery.
Yeah, cut. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right,
we're
come.
on the hour right now.
All right, so we're gonna finish it. So we're gonna go on to verse 23. Then we're gonna say that for next week, Lord willing. Go ahead.
Okay. Acts 17 and 19. And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus, saying...
Yeah, to Areopagus or Areopagus. Now I got some documents on that. This is gonna be quicker. This ain't really that much. This is just read the whole thing. Read the whole verse.
It's, and they took him and brought him unto Areopagus, saying, May we know what this new doctrine, wherefore thou speakest?
So they brought him to the Areopagus and they're saying, let us know this new doctrine you're talking about, or this Yahweh Shai and Anastasia you're talking about, or this Yahweh Shai and resurrection you're talking about. Well, let's read what the Areopagus was. This is from webpage Destination 360. It says, Areopagus Hill is a historic hunk of rock found in Athens near the entrance to the Acropolis, as we read earlier. And just above, which you had that too, right? Yep. Near the entrance to the Acropolis and just above the site of the ancient Agora. So this is all near each other, where Paul was debating and all of that. Areopagus, or Areopagus, in Athens was once a classical homicide court, a pre-classical meeting ground for city elders and the site where the Apostle Paul delivered his famous speech to the Athenians, as we are reading here in Acts 17. The name of the rock remains unclear, but Pagos in Greek refers to big rock, as it is thought that Area was derived from either Ares or Aranish. Well, you know Ares was what? The Greek was the Greek god of war, right?
Yeah, Mars.
Mars Hill.
Yeah.
Mars and Mars was in the Roman,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because Mars was the Roman equivalent to
Aries, the Greek.
Ares in Greek, that's how I got the book of Ezra. It says allegedly the Aranists existed in Greek mythology to exact punishment on those who broke any of the natural laws. Which the document here says the Areopagus in Athens was a classical homicide court, and they thought the Ariel came from Ares or Aranus, and the Aranists was goddesses who they thought was going to give punishment upon anyone who broke the laws. That's why they thought Ariels probably came from Ares or Aranus. All right. Allegedly, the Aranists existed in Greek mythology to exact punishment on those who broke any of the natural laws that man was otherwise unfit to appropriately punish. The Aranists are tied to Areopagus Hill through the persecution of Orestes, who killed his mother. His mother had killed his father, and Orestes was then persuaded by both his sister and the god Apollo to avenge his father's death. All right. He would be called to trial at Areopagus in Athens. The Aranists, who continued to assail his conscience as punishment for his act, had driven Orestes somewhat mad. This is the myth, of course. However, the court of Areopagus Hill would acquit him, and the Aranists would be converted to the kind of Eumenides. Athena relegated them to a cave on the rock. The name Areopagus may refer to Aranus and mean Hill of Curses. The Areopagus Athens rock is referred to as Hill of Ares, as it was the Greek god of war who was believed to have been the first tried at Areopagus Hill. Now, Areopagus was what? A homicide court, as you just read. And the myth says that Ares was tried there at Areopagus Hill because Ares was put on trial for killing the son of Poseidon. So Areopagus Hill was a homicide court, but according to the myth, Ares himself was tried there for the murder of so-called Poseidon's son. That's why it was known as, that goes to show you, it was, you know? Niggas and they bullshit like you just said. So they saying no, the myth says that Ares killed. So they say the myth says that Ares killed Poseidon's son. That's why today it's a homicide court. You know what I'm saying? Niggas and they bullshit, you know. It says Ares is put on trial for killing the son of Poseidon, who attacked and violated his sister. Poseidon, obviously angered at the murder of his son, called for a murder trial. So now God, so-called gods, is calling for trials. That goes to show you these gods don't exist, man. You know? Called for a murder trial for Ares at Areopagus in Athens. A tribunal was formed by fellow Olympian gods who eventually would rule in favor of Ares. So Ares won the case. Thus the name Hill of Ares. Which you know Areos is Ares in Greek, and Pagos is hill or rock. Ares rock, Ares hill. Regardless of legends and tall tales, there was an actual court held at Areopagus Hill. So regardless of legends and tall tales, there actually was court held at Areopagus. There actually was court, which goes back to what I just said when I was doing all of that, giving you the explanation. We gave you the explanation. It says there was an actual court held at Areopagus Hill that lasted from around the 7th century BC until Roman times, which Paul was around during Roman times. That's why the Romans called it Mars Hill, which you're going to explain that. Primarily, those who were put on trial on the hill had been convicted of murder, according to the myth. Now, I'm going to read about the Aranists, and I'm going to go right back to this last couple of verses. We're going to get out of here. This is Aranists. They're called Furies. Furies in Greek mythology, the Aranists, literally the Avengers from Greek pursue or persecute, sometimes referred to as infernal goddesses, were female chthonic deities of vengeance. A formulaic oath of the Iliad invokes them as those who beneath the earth punish whomsoever are sworn a false oath, has sworn a false oath. Burkert suggests that they are an embodiment of the act of self-cursing contained in the oath. They correspond to the Furies or Diary in Roman mythology. So the Romans even took them and switched them up. And notice it says they suggest that the Furies are an embodiment of the act of self-cursing contained in the oath. That's why they thought they also meant Hill of Curses. According to Hesiod's Theogony, when the Titan Cronus castrated his father, Uranus, and threw his genitalia into the sea, that's complete BS, Uranus emerged from the drops of blood, while Aphrodite was born from the crest of sea foam, according to variant accounts. according to varying accounts. They emerged from an even more primordial level from Nyx, night. The numbers usually left indeterminate. Virgil, probably, that was a jig also, I'll just put that out. Virgil, probably working from an Alexandrian source, recognized 3. Alecto, unnameable, who appeared in Virgil's Aeneid. Megara, grudging. Anticipone, vengeful destruction. Dante followed Virgil in depicting the same 3 characterized triptych of Erinnys, Dante's Inferno. In Canto 9 of the Inferno, they confront the poets of the gates of the city of Dis. So all that hell stuff is just a myth. The waist of the Erinnys were intertwined with serpents, and their eyes dripped with blood, rendering their appearance rather horrific. Other depictions showed them with wings of a bat or bird and the body of a dog. Now, that was verse 19. So we told you what the Areopagus was. Now read verse 20. We're gonna stop at verse 22. Gonna be the last verse we're gonna read.
Okay, verse 20. Acts 17 and 20. For thou bringest.
So they brought him to the Areopagus to see what it was that he was talking about. Now let's see what they're saying to him now.
For thou bringest certain strange things to our ears. We would know therefore what these things mean.
So they're saying you talking about some strange stuff to us. I want to know what this is you talking about. Go on.
For all the Athenians and strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else, but either to tell or to hear some new thing.
I look like some guys on 125th Street. They're spending time nothing else just to hear or tell some new thing. That's artificial intimidation. I saw that in the video too. A guy said he had a document. He's like, I got a document, I don't got it on me. That's artificial intimidation. I'm like, what the hell's going, Go ahead.
Verse 22. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill.
Now, Mars Hill and Areopagus was the same thing. Now, during the time of the Romans,